Hey guys, so this tutorial here, I'm just going to do a quickie to show you guys how to mark up your charts ready for the day's trade. It's going to be like a back test, but pretty much you can, open up Trading 212 or Trading View. I have links to both in the description below. They're free to use, and obviously you can practice and then place your paper trades, and then when you're pretty much used to how to enter and exit these trades and how to watch the candles and understand a little bit more of the direction for the day, and when you feel pretty confident in the use of Trading View or Trading 212 and obviously the platform that you're trading on, then pretty much you can go live. But I think for the meantime, if you are new, I would just practice, because obviously practice makes perfect, and it gets your eyes used to what you're looking for, positions and entries, and obviously things that don't always go according to plan. If there's especially at the moment, everything is very volatile. I'll show you towards the end NVDA stock, which you may think would be trending one way, but ended up going a different way. Anyway, let's just make a start. So, as usual, I'm on Trading View, and I have my three lines that I tend to stick to, which is the VWAP, which is in white. So if I knock that out, and you can see that's VWAP. I also have my two moving averages, which is the oh, there you go. So my two moving averages are the yellow and the pink line. So the yellow line is the faster line, which is the 9 EMA, and the pink is the 21 EMA. So how I tend to use these three lines is as such. With the VWAP, it's going to give me the general direction of the candlesticks for the day. So anything under VWAP, that white line, signifies that things are going down. It's a bearish trend. And obviously the yellow and the pink line, the moving averages, the 9 and the 21 EMA, if the yellow line crosses the pink line and the candles are underneath both the yellow and the pink and underneath VWAP, then pretty much you can confirm that it's a downtrend for however long price action is, still going downwards in the charts. And obviously vice versa, if it's a bull trend, everything will be above VWAP and above the 9 EMA and above the 21 EMA. Now, the reasons why I tend to have the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA is simply because as you're watching price action, you need to have a way to figure out, can I stay in this trend as it's going down? So whilst you could be a scalper, if you're, trading futures, and you're scalping for like 5 minutes, you need to know within that time frame, is that red candle going to hold for the duration that you're scalping, or is it crossing over and deciding it's changing its path and it's no longer going downwards or going upwards? So basically your 21 EMA is your guardrail. So as it sits below the yellow line, the 9 EMA, you're pretty much in a good downtrend. You're going down, but as you can see, we're on candles. So there are green candles which are like slight pullbacks on the 1 minute chart. As these green candles form, you may wonder, is it going to break above this yellow 9 EMA and then your downtrend is over? Like here, it broke above it, but it wasn't over because it stayed underneath the 21. So in between these two gaps here, the yellow and the pink line, is pretty much like your buffer zone. So anything that's buffering in here, you can still hold your trade on the way down or on the way up. So this is like your buffer zone. This is why we have two lines. Your main one is is the 9 EMA, so you follow that down, and then your buffer zone is the 21. So anything in between here, you can still hold it. So here you could still hold it, and it's still holding to go down, 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 and then at this point you would have got out, because simply for the reason that there's a measured move. So as with any stock, you need to have an indication, or you need to have an idea of basically how far can NVIDIA move in a day. It started its journey here at 9:30 New York Stock Exchange, and the 9 EMA crossed below the 21. So we're on a downward trend, okay? And at this 9:30 cross, your price point for NVIDIA is about $115. If you go to indicators on TradingView, you can bring up what's called the ATR, which is your average true range. So let me just close all this out and then I'll show you. So if you go to indicators and you bring up the ATR, which is your average true range, this will now tell you here that your average true range for the day, that's for the minute, for the day, okay, on NVIDIA. Okay, it's showing $2 at the moment. That's because we're in after hours. On a full day, it will give you, oh, here we go. So on a full day, you can see your average true range here is about $7. Can you see that? $7.11. So for a full day, NVIDIA can go up and down, up and down, up and down, but it can only move a total of $7. So what tends to happen is NVIDIA will tend to kind of, push up for $3, come down for $2 or $1, and then push back up for the rest of the day. But it won't ever max out that $7, okay? That's the whole point of an average true range. So you need to have this and bear this in mind for every stock that you trade, because if you don't have that in mind, you could be placing price points where it may never reach there by the end of that day. And you could be waiting, but it will never get to that price point. So you really need to know the stock that you're trading. You really need to understand the ins and outs of that stock. So for NVIDIA, like I said, on the day, NVIDIA can move up to $7. Now, this is because we're in volatile times with Trump tariffs, etc. So it's expected that NVIDIA can go quite high. But on a normal day, when trading resumes normally without, crazy volatile Trump tariffs that are in play and other things that are in play, then pretty much NVIDIA can move between $4 to $5, maximum $6. So 7 is quite, an intense amount. Also on TradingView, you can see these different colors. So here, this is what's called pre-market trading. So from the hours of the 4 a.m. till 9:30 when New York Stock Exchange opens. So 4 a.m. to 9:30, that's pre-market. And it's good to have this on TradingView because you can see that with the let me just move this out of the way a second. So you can see literally the reason why TradingView is good, because you can follow your stock before it hits 9:30. And why do you need to know this? Because the whole point of trading is to kind of preempt, at least have an idea. I mean, you can't always preempt, but you can at least give yourself a good chance to see if the market is going to be going up or going to be going down. You need to have this in mind so that you can prepare to either place calls or place puts. Or if you're trading CFDs or if you're scalping, you need to know, are we heading up or are we heading down? Like, these are the two questions. Or are we just side ranging for the day? So these are like your two main questions that you need to like literally have in your head before the bell rings for the start of, you know, the trading day. So pre-market shows you, let's analyze it. So pre-market is showing you that it's in an uptrend. We're moving above VWAP. And as something goes up, as you can see, it's gone from 112 up to 115. So that is the measured move for NVIDIA. Like I said, it can only go that high. It can't go any higher than this unless, you know, there's some really crazy things that's happening. It can't really go any higher. It can't really go any lower. So that is the measured move from 112 to 115. So pre-market has given you a range for the day before entering, you know, the start of New York Stock Exchange. So when something is moving up and it's already gone to the top of its range for this measured move, then chances are what goes up must come down. So as we enter this black zone here, this is regular trading hours. So 9:30 New York Stock Exchange will start to open. So as pre-trading hours is coming towards 9:30, what do we notice? We notice that it's already gone to the top of its range. It's moved from 112 all the way up to $115. So now at this point, we know it's got to go down, because what goes up must come down. It's reached its max potential, so it's going to fall. So as pre-market opens and the bell rings, you know, for trade session to open, ding, 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 guess what? You know in advance already, you know by a few minutes already, that as the bell opens, you want to be into puts. You need to know this already. Have it prepared that you need to be ready for puts on NVIDIA as the bell rings. And you need to buy high to sell low. That's how you make the most gains. The higher price point you can get in, by the time it goes all the way back down, you can sell out and make a great gain. So the 9 EMA already crossed the 21 and everything's heading down literally 1 to 2 minutes before the bell opens at New York Stock Exchange. Look, 9:20, 9:28, 9:27. So at this point, you can pretty much put in your put order, and you can buy that put order ready for this to go down, depending how you're playing. You can be ready to scalp this down. So as it opens, you can see there is a tremendous like red candles already on the 1 minute, and it's already still below the 9 EMA, and we're moving below the VWAP. Everything is just dropping, 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 dropping. Normally, there's another strategy here where people trade the 1 minute candles. So at any point just before New York Stock Exchange, if you see a huge red candle, you know it's pretty much going to follow on from there. So people wait for this red candle to complete and close, and then on the sign of that next red candle, they'll place their, you know, entry for a put and sell NVIDIA down for the day. So anyway, guys, so you keep selling NVIDIA down and you use your 9 and 21 to track how far it goes down. So you can either exit at this point here, because you already know from 115 down to 112 or 111 is basically the full move for NVIDIA. So you just wait to see, you know, where do you want to get out? I mean, if you were brave enough, you could wait for it to like pull back to here and hold on until you could come out here. But really, you already know the measured move. So anywhere between 111 to 112, you can get out of this trade already, and that will be done for the day. Now, if we move out, zoom out a little bit, that was literally a trade that took you from 9:30 to just 9:46. So you're not, you didn't spend a lot of time in this. You spent under 10 minutes probably just in that one trade. You could have called that a day. Okay. However, for those of you who are more aggressive in your trading, looking at this on hindsight and just doing a back test, you can preempt another thing, or you can even just observe, see, trade what you see. So what do you see? You see everything is still below the VWAP. If things are still below the VWAP, then your trend is still heading downwards. So at this point, you could have either bought 2 contracts, knowing that halfway through here you would sell out at your first, contract and leave the other one to ride towards the end. So in your second contract that you've left to run, you can watch that draw back to the VWAP. And here, if it broken above VWAP, you can get out of that position. But here, if it didn't break above VWAP and it's still continuing to fall, then you could have just rode that all the way until the end of that trend. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just buying one contract, ride all the way down, exit, and then wait for a pullback. So this pullback to the VWAP. So everything eventually comes back to kiss the VWAP. So when it comes back here and it touches the VWAP again, you can buy in a second trade at 112 and then ride that all the way down to 109, knowing that you're still within the measured move of NVIDIA, which is about $7 on this volatile day. So now you've come to the end of 2 trades. What do? Well, you're already at the bottom. So at this point, you could take a call and buy NVIDIA back up, because what comes down again must come back up. So it's not hard to see that at the end it's come this far from VWAP. You can see the gap. It's this far from VWAP. So then you can buy in a call down at the bottom, getting a great price. So instead of buying high to sell low, you now buy low to sell high. So you're getting at a really good price point, low, which is about $109. And you hold until when it comes back to VWAP, and then you sell at $111. So you can sit through all of this to hold it. Now, the only thing is, it's quite, a long day, this. So most people just do half a day, or just do the first hour and then call it a day. But for those of you who are more aggressive trading and you've got more stamina, you can last pretty much the whole day if you wanted to. The only thing to say is that if you were to buy these contracts, you need to make sure that you have either margin or a lot of cash available in your account, because obviously you need to buy in at the money, or at least in the money, so that theta, if it's options, theta isn't going to eat away at your options. So you can hold throughout. So from here it would have been 12:15 all the way up until almost closing hour at 4 o'clock. So you need to buy a really good option to hold that length of time, so that there's not much time decay. So either in the money or at the money could hold you. But then if you didn't want to, you just could get out at the next point here, knowing that, you almost got to VWAP, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to hold all of that. So there's various points in which you can trade on this particular day. And on this particular day, NVIDIA trended quite well. It was on a downtrend. But obviously on the downtrend, like I said, wherever it goes down, it will go back up to kiss VWAP. It always does that. Okay, so that was the first back test. Now we'll move on. So this blue box here is what's known as post trading. So there's pre and post. So post is after hours. So trading finishes at 4 for New York Stock Exchange. And then obviously after that, the after hours will start, and that closes basically you know, by the time 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock hits, and then pre-hour starts. So that's post and pre, and then we'll come up to the next day for regular trading. So here we're on Tuesday the 15th. So again, it's the same technique, guys. What does pre trading tell you? Pre-hours, what's it telling you? It's telling you that there was a bit of, you know, a consolidation here. Look, it's like VWAP is just in the middle of all of this mess here. So there's no trading to be done here during pre-hours. But then it started to move below VWAP. So there was a downward trend. So from consolidation, it's now burst downwards. So anything that's down must eventually go back up. So as we're trending downwards in pre-hours, we're now heading towards the opening hours of the regular trading hours for the New York Stock Exchange. So we're heading down, 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 down. So something that's going down must eventually go up. So as we're entering the New York Stock Exchange morning session at 9:30, it's already given you a hint. Look, it's crossed over early. It's crossed over at 9:27 again. So about 2 to 3 minutes before, it's telling you already, I'm crossing, I'm crossing. So this time, instead of crossing down, it's now crossing up for the day. So as we're hitting New York Stock Exchange at 9:30, ding, 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 it's crossing over. So the 9 EMA is now moving above the 21. So it's time to get into calls. So you're coming in at $110 and you're riding this all the way up to 112. Like I said, it's measured move. It can move between $2 to $3 up and down, but the total is only 7 for the day. So that's how NVIDIA tends to play it. So you would have entered your call here at $110. You would have bought that call and rode it all the way up to, you know, 112. And you kind of like know when to exit anyway, because of the fact that you're hitting, you know, your candles here. You're having like a hammer candle, which is telling you that there's going to be, you know, these candles are showing you that sellers have started to jump in and push this candle all the way down. So that's pretty much telling you that the bullish trend is almost over at the top. And knowing that, you know, NVIDIA moves about $2 to $3 up and $2 to $3 down, pretty much you're in a good range to like get out of this trade. So you get in where it crosses there. The 9 crosses to 21 at $110, and you get out here when it's telling you that buyers have become weak and sellers have jumped into the market and pushed that price down. So around about 112, you jump out and, you know, get out of this trade. And that would be that for, you know, how long is that? It was 9:30 and that ended literally 5 minutes after. So that wasn't a very long trade at all. And then again, you could be done for the day. However, because this is a back test, we can see what's happened. So what happened was, what goes up, like I said, must come down. So if you miss this move all the way up, you can catch it all the way down. So if you miss this move up, then you can go, hey, it's on the way down. So buy your puts in at 112, ride it all the way back down to VWAP. So literally you'd get out at 111 here, and that would have been your ride back down, and then obviously out of your trade, because at this point it's not really doing anything. It's just, you know, consolidating to figure out what to do. So now it's decided that after that it's still carried on dropping below VWAP. So again, you know, your measured move, you know, your range bottom for the day is around about 110. So at this point, it's pretty much clear that you are safe to buy in. If you're not safe to buy in and it just comes to this VWAP and drops further, well, that's fine, because then at this point, it would have shown you with the EMA crossovers and you would have got out at this point. And that would have been it. You just would have ridden it from 112 back up to 111. But because it carried on and on and on, and you can see it crossed over VWAP, then you would have just held your trade and just wait for it to end. So like I said, these 9 EMAs and the 21 EMA will keep you in your trend. So, and it's also staying above VWAP. So these are the three confluences that help you guide where your trade, where price action is looking to go. So had you bought in a call here and it didn't hit VWAP and went back down, and you would have sold out there, but you've realized, hang on, it's breaking through, then you would have held it because it's still above VWAP, even though these are just pullbacks. It's not going back below VWAP, and so you're not ranging, it's going up. So catch it and follow it all the way up, and then that would have been another trade that you could have gotten in the same day. And for those of you that may have missed that, then again, you're at the top because you know the measured move for the day. So now that you're at the top, then what goes up must come down. It's the same. It's really simple, this stuff. You know, when you look at it and, you know, really analyze what you're seeing. So only trade what you see, guys. That's the simplest way to put it. So here at the top, you're buying puts to sell back down. And how far is it going to go? Well, you already know you've got your VWAP. The chances are it's going to kiss VWAP. And then when it kisses VWAP, is this either going to go straight through, or it's just going to, like, you know, finish off its thing there and go back up and bounce. So that's what happened. It just kissed VWAP and then just bounced around for the rest of the day to end the day out. So those are your trades for that day. And then you've got your post-market where it just tanks. And then you've got pre-market where it just kind of consolidated. So you know that everything's just tanked and fallen. And so you're in a downward trend. So chances are you're still going downward for the day when it opens on regular trading hours. That's the trend. So on this day, you can see that, you know, it's kind of like, it's still under VWAP. That's the main thing to know. So at this point here, you can see as soon as the 9 EMA crosses the 21, you can place your call and basically just wait until you see where you can exit. So literally, you know, you can have your RSI open at this point, guys, because your RSI is your relative strength index. And I'll show you what I mean. So the RSI will show you, it's another indicator that can tell you how long you can hold your trade for. Normally what happens is if you follow the RSI at the bottom, this purple line, you can see it trades these candles. It's basically, you know, trending your candles. So as your green candles are popping, it's going up. You can see your RSI is getting to the point where it's becoming oversold. So there's a bit of a pullback. You're still above VWAP, so you hold on to it. Hold on to your trade. And you watch it go. And again, you're still above VWAP. However, at this point, you can see on the RSI that it started to cross. And where the RSI down here, guys, where that purple line has crossed below that yellow line, you know that the trend is changing. So that's where you would like leave your trade at that point. But that's fine because you knew that anyway, because on entering, you already know that you entered at the bottom. So let me just close the RSI a second. So there's lots of ways you can track your trade. You already know at the start you started at 104, and NVIDIA moves about $2 to $3. So 104 to 106, you kind of like can pretty much guess that that's going to be the top for that trade, and then you'd be out. And then pretty much it is the top, because by that time the red candles have formed and you're coming back to VWAP again, so you're already out. But if you're quick enough and you know you've got trades ready, knowing that you're coming in at 104 and you're coming out about 106, 107, you'd have your puts ready here. And if you miss this uptrend, you have your puts ready to ride it back down. It's really that simple, guys. So you ride it back down, and like I said, VWAP is your your telltale sign of whether you can stay in or not stay in. And once it hit VWAP, it's bounced a little bit, but then it's just broken straight through it. So pretty much, it doesn't care too much about VWAP. It's heading down. So in which case you stay in your trade all the way down to the bottom again, or within, the $2 to $3 moves that NVIDIA makes. And again, use your 9 and 21 EMA to guide you, and your colours of your candles to guide you, and where you are on your price charts to guide you, and obviously your RSI to tell you that it's going to the bit where it's pretty much oversold and it's time to get out. So that's another trade. And if you miss that one, then hey, you can wait for it to go back to VWAP and then watch it go back down again and catch that one. And if you miss that, then hey, right here, if you miss that going back down, now you can catch it back up again to kiss the VWAP. And then you literally just do that all day, guys. You just trade what you see. So here, had you missed that and you caught it back up to VWAP, then that would have been that trade for, the bullish side intraday. And then had you missed that, you can see there was rejection at the VWAP. And you can just watch here where the 9 EMA crosses and it's below VWAP and it's rejected. Then you can just catch that to go all the way down. And if you were lucky to jump into this one, you would have caught that all the way down to 100. You entered here at 105 and you just keep watching, following your EMAs, so long as it's not, crossing over the 21, you can just keep your trade, and it's still below VWAP. In fact, it's moving far away from VWAP, so it's still trending down it's quite a bearish trend, this one, because it's moving so far away from VWAP. So yeah, guys, that's just how it works. So we'll do another one. So this post, it started to move up, and in it started to move up. So in pre-trading, we're all the way up. So as we're coming in to market open, you can see it's heading bearish. It's still below VWAP. There, still below that white VWAP line. And your indication is here where the 9 EMAs crossed over as market opens. So you can come in at 104 and catch this all the way down to 102. And then you can, if you miss that, you could have bought back in here at 103 where it crossed, or where it crossed here at 102, and just ride that one all the way back down because it's below the 9 EMA, below, and get that to 100 and then jump back out. It's really that simple, guys. That's all it is. And if you just do a back test of all of this and just follow, where did it come from the day before, the pre-trading? Where did the price action come in from on pre-trading? And that will give you an indication of where it's going to go on the day, on regular hours, trading hours. But if if you don't have that on your chart, then you can just wait for the crossovers of the 9 EMA and the 21 EMA to show you, are we going down or are we going up? And are we above or below the VWAP to, really confirm that it's a downtrend? So I know this is hindsight, but this is what you need to practice, and you need to keep an eye out for this. And the more that you can see this and the more that you get familiar with this, then obviously your trading is just going to get way better, because first of all, you're not stuck in any of this mess here. And you caught it at the top to ride it to the bottom, and then you got out before all of this nonsense. Okay? And then if you miss that, you already know from your measured move that this is the bottom, and you're just going to wait for it to catch up to VWAP, or wherever this indicator shows you that it's going to end. And that's how you trade it. It's really that simple. And then obviously on some days, you would just give it a miss, because look, on these days here, there's not really much movement it's literally just going between 97 to 98, and there's really not much going on. So you'd miss days like that. If we go to today, like today was a bit of, you know, basically you're just getting like washed around. You're just getting like, you know, it's just going backwards and forwards today. I think the only time you would have got in a good trade was like right at the end of the day, where it just tanked from 103 down to 102, but not really. I mean, today's a bit of a wish-wash really, like yesterday. So hopefully tomorrow NVIDIA will give you a bit more, you know, price action either up or down. But on days like this, you'd have to be really quick. So on days like this, you have to scalp quickly. Like you'd have to see that you jump in at 104 and only catch it as far as it can go down to 102. And you have to get out as soon as you see, you know, the green candles start to form. So I always trade these on the 1 minute because that's, you know, I'm pretty much a scalper. And also, because I'm playing options, I try to like not hold them for too long. So that's the other reason, because of, you know, option decay and time decay. So I tend to like get in and out quickly on the 1 minute. Anyway, guys, that's just a quick, I suppose, tutorial to show you how you can do back tests for NVIDIA or any stock, just following the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA and VWAP, and using, you know, the RSI to show you how long you can stay in for, or how long, you know, before you can jump out. And literally understanding that each stock has a measured move. I mean, NVIDIA has about $7 on volatile times, but really $5 on normal times. Tesla is a lot more. Tesla, I think, is, let's just bring Tesla up and I'll show you. Let's see Tesla's measured move. Let me just close these out a second and then go to indicators. Like I said, guys, you can just get these these platforms free from my links down below. So we're looking for ATR, the average true range. Okay. So the average true range for Tesla on a day it's showing at the moment to be here. Can you see, guys? It's a lot more than NVIDIA. Tesla is $21 in these volatile times. $21.22 each day it moves. So this is why Tesla can jump $10 up and $10 down in a day, and that would be it. That would be done for Tesla. So you can go about $8 up, $8 down, give or take, and that will be the measured move for Tesla in a day. Or if you had a crazy trending up and down day, it can just literally go up 20 and down 20 in a day. That's it. That's its measured move. Total is just about $21 a day. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. Like and subscribe, and then watch for more. Okay, cheers, guys.